For as long as men and women have walked the earth, wearing your nation's colors and serving your country bring great honor to you and your family. This trend certainly holds true to this very day, as the U.S. military is as big now as it's ever been. However, military service is leaving long lasting negative effects during and after services are concluded. The U.S. military enlistment rates are at their highest, but so are the number of service members that are taking their own life. How has this problem gotten so out of control, and what are the root causes? Can the military improve its morale for the betterment of their troops? U.S. troops make countless sacrifices every single day, so the military has got to find a way to be better. Since 9/11, there have been 30,177 suicides in the United States military. That is more than 4 times the number than what it was prior to 9/11. One of the leading causes is post traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. I'm sure you've heard of it. 31% of troops will suffer from PTSD, and they will also suffer for the remainder of their lives. Sexual trauma experienced in the military is also at a record high. 55% of female service members experience some sort of sexual abuse at some point while they're enlisted. And 38% of males are also going to experience some sort of sexual abuse at some point along the line in their career. In 2018 alone, there were 20,500 sexual assault cases, and from that number, only 30% of females and 17% of males reported their attack to the chain of command. Why not report the attacks? I'm sure you're probably asking. To officially report an attack, it requires a victim to be extremely vulnerable to a colleague, someone they're going to have to see every day after that. And in a study from the RAND Corporation, 51% said that they were ostracized after reporting the attack, and 34% said that they were being maltreated after reporting. Sexual trauma has lingering effects even after service is concluded. 71% of female veterans are currently being treated for PTSD from sexual abuse they experienced while they served in the armed forces. And throughout history, warfare has evolved with time, terrain, and personnel. The war on terror in the Middle East is no exception to that trend. IEDs, or improvised explosive devices, have been the most common method used by terrorists in the Middle East. IEDs are relatively small in size, and they can be placed almost anywhere and can be almost impossible to detect. The most common injury associated with IEDs are traumatic brain injuries, or TBIs. Due to medical advances, many soldiers are surviving these IED attacks and they're being redeployed. And being redeployed only puts them at risk to suffer more IED attacks and, worst case scenario, have more TBIs. And after spending so much time overseas, at some point the soldiers are going to return home, and this experience of the coming home can make all the difference for how their life is after that moment. That is one of the major turning points, is when they return home. So, for the most part, soldiers are returning home to a disinterested public. And this can give soldiers feelings of isolation and that they're being ostracized for serving their country. A poll taken in 2018 showed that 42% of Americans were unaware that troops were even deployed. So, returning home to a warm welcome can make all the difference on the flip side. Making efforts to accept veterans and reintegrate them into a community are great ways to welcome them home. The suicide rate in the military is very alarming, but it should not be the only focus of military service. Serving in the military comes with feelings of honor, commitment, and fulfillment. And those should be your main points that you should look at if you're considering serving. It can also set up veterans with many opportunities when they decide to get out. One of those opportunities is the GI Bill, and it's one of the best benefits. And it allows service members to go back to school or attend college for the first time with their tuition completely paid for. There's a study from the Student Veteran Association that shows that GI Bill students were more likely to graduate, they're more likely to have a higher GPA, and they're also going to earn more rigorous degrees in fields such as business or healthcare. So, to wrap things up, the military suicide rates are completely out of hand, and there has to be a way to control them or slow them down because, unfortunately, I don't think it's a problem that will ever be stopped. The best steps to do is to welcome veterans home with the intent to build strong relationships, making sure they're invited back into the community. Serving the country should always be celebrated and it should always be respected by everyone, and it should not come with fears of isolation or depression. Thanks.